So I'm here with Tim Quilty and David Limbrick. I've turned the camera around so you guys can hear what's happening. Can you guys actually hear this from inside Parliament, this noise?
Sometimes.
Not all live.
Yeah.
Come out the front of the building, you can hear it.
Yeah.
But in the chamber itself, you don't really hear it.
Okay. And I guess people that are watching, there's about 2,000 people. They want to know what occurred inside Parliament today.
Yeah, so the first thing that happened this morning is there was a procedural debate. They basically used emergency procedures to bring the bill forward for debate immediately. Normally that wouldn't happen. I mean, yeah, so normally it would stay on the table for, I don't know, it would have been at least until Thursday, I think, right?
Yeah, it should have been another 2 days before the bill came up for debate. So they used the emergency powers, the urgent debate procedures to bring the bill on. We had a big debate about that. And it was interesting, the Greens voted with the government on that and everything else all through the day, which is a complete change from the way they've done things in the past, where the Greens have been, Sam Ratnam has been a big stickler for parliamentary procedure and following the way things should work, but today that all went out the window and the three crossbenchers voted with the government on every single thing.
Yeah, and then after that, then we went forward with the debate on the bill. So, all members of Parliament that wanted to debate, gave their speeches. I gave mine. You can watch. I've already posted mine on social media, and I think Tim's will be posted shortly if it's not already. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of different positions on it. But eventually, we got to the end of that, and there was a vote, what's called second reading vote, and that passed 19-18. We voted against it, of course. And then there was a few more procedural votes, but then debate was adjourned, and then it's going to come back Thursday for what's called the committee stage, and this is where people get to ask questions about the bill and also things like put forward amendments if they want to try and amend the bill. There's a whole bunch of amendments. I think there's like 90 or something crazy.
It's an opportunity to interrogate the bill in detail, ask about each clause, what it means, get the government to go on record about what it stands for. Ultimately, and we'll vote on each clause or clause, if there's no questions about a clause, a bunch of clauses in a group. And if that all passes a committee, and it probably will be 1918 the whole way through, then the bill will go back to the Parliament and we'll vote again one last time, the third reading vote, and then it will become... Actually, then it has to go back to the Assembly because of the amendments, because the government has a bunch of amendments they're going to pass. So they'll have to go back to the Assembly on Friday at some point.
Yeah.
And then off to the government to sign, and then it becomes law.
Yeah, and so one sort of significant thing that did happen today that the government did is that they gave us amendments last night. So the government's own amendments. So the government agreed to change some of the things in the bill. I think of those, the most significant was taking out the references to attributes in the Equal Opportunity Act. But I mean, really, these were just window dressing, I think. I mean, I described it as, hundreds of thousands on a muck sandwich. But it's not great. But I know that the Libs have got a bunch of amendments. I know Catherine Cummings got a bunch of amendments. We've got an amendment. Our amendment's going to be to try and set up a parliamentary oversight committee that's not controlled by the government. So we'll see how that goes.
But realistically, you wouldn't expect any amendments to pass except the government's if the numbers are tight, firm, and it appears like they are firm. So
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with me, guys. And just another quick one. What do you guys think of the protests that have been happening here over the last... I mean, they've been sitting in here for days now, and I heard that they were described as right-wing extremists again today by the Premier and some other people as well, other members of Parliament. I mean, they can see from there and see who these people are, and this characterization of Victorians continuously as being right-wing extremists. Why are they continuing to do this?
I think part of it is just ignorance because they don't actually come and talk to these people. This is what I've been saying all throughout the pandemic. I've been going to lots of different protests, not just lockdown protests. I went to the Black Lives Matter protests. I've been to Christian protests. I went to a protest in support of Hong Kongers, all different protests throughout the pandemic. And anyone that's sort of been dissenting against the government, they've smeared them. Now, in some cases, they've been given a free kick. Like I didn't see it, but I saw footage. Someone brought gallows or something last night. I don't know whether that was an individual or whatever, but clearly that's a pretty horrible thing to do that I don't like. But the people that I've spoken to, and I spoke to some tonight and last night. I've been speaking to a lot of people. Most of the people I've been speaking to just seem like normal people who have got concerns about the bill. They're worried about their rights, and they're worried about what this means for the future. A lot of these people I've spoken to, they've lost their jobs because of mandates, or they've got friends that have lost their jobs. And these are totally legitimate concerns that the government should be addressing, rather than just smearing people because they find one or two people who are doing something crazy and then say, well, everyone's like that. I think it's a really unfair way of dealing with things. Every protest I've ever been to, there's always a few fringe elements, and trying to say that that's representative of everyone there is just a wrong thing to do. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today, guys.
Yeah,
I
cheers.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate your work too.
After a long, hard day's work,
Yeah.
the Parliament.
Yeah, I think it might be time to go home now, but yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Tim. Thank you so much. So, guys, that was David Limbrick and Tim Quilty, MP from the Liberal Democrats. I'm just going to switch the camera around.